So what's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace. Today we're getting into the Nomad's Paradise Islands Intense Eyeshadow Palette. So as soon as I saw the color story on this, I was like, yes, I need it. Who do I talk to? How much does it cost? When does it come out? Because I love Nomad Cosmetics. If you already know, the first palette I ever bought from them was Orient Express, and it was about this size, so I'm used to this size palette. But their palettes, from what I've noticed, usually come in this size. This is their America's Parks palette. This was the one I had in this size to show you that was already readily available. And this is what she looks like on the inside if you're curious. So they usually curate pretty nice color stories, but let's look at the new one now because I'm so excited to see it. This is what she looks like. I'm over here like, yes, this is all the colorful goodness I like. Y'all know I like blues, greens, and purples. So that's the last two rows are just like my aesthetic completely. The top row looks okay. I was just concerned about like these two shades right here because the rest of them seem fine, but like this half of the top is just like, looks like it's not gonna work for me too well. And from what I saw in Karen's video, I was right. My assessment was correct because she had to take it off, and you know Karen is tan girl, so if the tan girl can't wear it, I sure can. But you know, considering how many shades there are in here and the fact that I do have other Nomad palettes, I could easily make it a companion palette with other palettes. Like I feel like it would go really nicely with the Harajuku, which is Tokyo, Japan palette, and just some other colorful palettes in my collection. Like I would put this with Surge if I want more deeper tones. So there's a lot of palettes I can put it with in my collection, but I just wanted to make you aware. To me, this probably seems like it's gonna be more of a companion palette unless you're maybe like fair to like maybe at the best medium. But this is what she looks like, and we're gonna start the comparison. So I brought my Lizzie McGuire palette. I couldn't remember like what the inside of this would look like, but I feel like it has some tones in it that are similar to it. It just doesn't have like the basically the purple to it. I mean, not the purple, the blue to it, but it has other tones in it. I bought my Powerpuff Girls palette from ColourPop to show it. Now please be advised, I did take a couple of shades out of the Amethyst palette from ColourPop put in here because I didn't like the two press glitters that went in here, so I took those out and made it look like this instead. So to me, this looks somewhat similar to this one, basically based upon the tones, which is why I thought it was okay to bring it. But remember, I did take the two press glitters out to put the amethyst shades in order for mine to look similar to this particular palette. I bought the Ugly palette from LYS Cosmetics. I'm sorry, LYS Makeup, and this is what it looks like alongside the palette. So I just bought all the palettes that I thought had pretty beautiful color stories to them. I feel like look somewhat similar to this, so you could get an idea of what's in my collection based upon, you know, what I'm showing you versus this palette to see. Then I have a Net's Makeup Corner and Menagerie, the Serenity palette. So this is what they look like side by side. Of course, the Net's is a little more deeper and grungier and has like a couple more colors that I feel like this palette doesn't have. Next, I got the Margarita palette from Glamlight. I felt like this could be like, since it has a variety of pinks and red in it, it could be a good companion for this palette as well, because you can use red deeper mattes in here if you're my skin tone, and then you need to use the rest of the colors in this palette to curate a look, or put both of them together to curate a very nice look. Then I decided to bring Club Nebula because I feel like the color stories are somewhat similar in them. This Angie's placement is a little bit different than theirs, but this is what it looks like side by side. You can't get this palette anymore. So then I brought, what is this one? The Escape Pod. I heard they're trying to get rid of this one. I don't know how true it is or not, but this is what it looks like alongside this palette. And then lastly, I bought the Culture palette from Juvia's Place. I recently did a review on to put alongside this palette as well. So it'll be hard showing both these because they are both ginormous. So that's what both of these look like. So those are all the colorful palettes I had to show just right off the bat. If I think of any more, they will be on my Instagram story. Like I told y'all, I gotta do all the Instagram story eye looks tomorrow, so I will be doing that tomorrow. But let me close you on in now so I can go off camera and come up with an eye look. I'd like to do more than one eye look, but I don't think it's gonna be possible tonight, so I'm gonna just come up with some colors out of this and try to use a good majority of the colors in here and try to come up with a somewhat cohesive color story. So I might have 2 or 3 mattes in the crease like I normally do, and then put a couple of shimmers on the lid and one in the inner corner just so I can get a good variety of shades done, just because I know I'm not going to have time to do all 3. I still got to get up and go to work tomorrow, y'all, and I got other stuff I got to do before, so it's just not going to be possible. But I'll do some more looks for during the week on Instagram, and you can check out that, okay? Okay. Okay, so this is the eye I came up with you all for the palette. So kind of jumped over the palette. I used these two shades right here. Then I used these two shades right here. I use that blue down here. I use this one. I use this one. I use this one. So I kind of just jumped all over the palette to make my eye look. But I was doing it as I went. So I mean, there you go. I'm gonna start off with the shade Stingray. It's a nice blue shade. And I actually just touched that all next to the last time. I had to like take off what was underneath there a few minutes ago and do it. But you can see it's a really pretty and quite pigmented shade. I wasn't sure about how pigmented it was gonna be, but as you can see, it looks quite nice and pigmented. So I was excited about it. To me, some of the other shades seem like they oxidize and they don't stay the same tone. I don't know if it's because of my skin tone, because I used like a white base and I felt like that should suffice, but apparently not. Next I'm going with the dark blue shade. And I just started that on the outer of the eye here. And we just left it like this. And kind of just wrung it out. Because I know I like to have the winged out cat eye effect when I do my eyelids as a general rule. So I'm going to just put down the blue. And winging it out. And make a little more of this Stingray shade. Now I'm going to go into the green shade, which is called Lizard, and start blending that right here in the outer V. And I put it just right underneath the brow bone, and I'm putting it right else. So. Anyone cares, this is a Sigma E45. Now I'm going to take what's the next shade I used? I used the shade Stingray again. And this is the Nala brush from the holiday set that came out in 2021. Or was it 2020? I don't know. It came in it was the Nala Trim Move Takeover box. I believe that was 2021, don't quote me though. But this is a nice little detail and crease brush that you can just put into the crease and work nicely. And look how gorgeous that color is. I love the color Stingray. Like, it's one of my favorite colors in this palette. It's just stunning. And then lastly, I went in with the shade Tiki. Just pop this right in the very front. Now this one I tried not to blend it out too much at first because I felt like the pigmentation was lacking when I blended it out. So this one I had to like pat it in order to get the pigmentation to where I wanted it to be kind of vibrant for you to see. And then I could start blending it out. So, and this is Mented Cosmetics what is it? B3 brush. I feel like it's good for the inner corner. Blend the shade in nicely. So we'll be working with the crease. Then I dusted the shade Dolphin over the top. I feel like it gave kind of like an ashy effect, which isn't what I was hoping for, but you know, since I did on one eye, I'm gonna do it on the other one now. But I felt it went good with the colors that we had already put down, so I went ahead and just dusted over top of everything. I planned on dusting on the last line too, but seeing what it did up top now, I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. Because I feel like it virtually disappeared as it was at the top, and then just left this weird gray, like ashy-ish cast to it. So I don't like that. So I just left kind of this little piece right here, and then I just put shimmers on the lid that way. So I started off with Ocean and put it all over the lid, and then I generally just put Sharp on top of it. So just gonna follow place I left open, because I found Sharp to be a little, Ocean to be a little sheer. than I was hoping for. So that's why I ended up going with Shark on top of it, because Shark gave me just some more vibrancy that I was hoping that Ocean would give because of the coloring of it, but it did not. So still, we had to, girl. So just pop Shark all over it, give that brightness and look I was hoping for. To me, Ocean seems like it's a little more frosty, where Shark seems to be a bit more brighter and blue. Now they're definitely here for us, so we just. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this is just giving more lightness and brightness to the look, which is what I wanted. So that works for me. Now we're gonna take the shimmery green shade, which is Fish, because I initially put that in the inner corner to start off with. Then I wanted a brighter inner corner, and I wanted a little extra pop of color. So I ran this up here just a tad bit, not too much, because I didn't want the matte to disappear and have too much shimmer going on in the crease. So we're gonna put both those on. But then, as you can see, I added the pink later on because I just really wanted to use the shade Moon. It was so pretty and I was like, I have to use it. So then I just went with Moon on top of Fish. And that's how we got the color that's in my inner corner now. I still think it gives a decent amount of the color that's actually in the pan versus being on top of that green shade. But I would love to put the shade Moon all over my lid with like a bright pink or a bright red matte, and maybe a cute like coral situation. So I'll probably do that another time, but you know, we're trying to put what's in the palette for right now, since there aren't any mattes that work in the palette for this particular tone that I really want to use. We're just working with what I had. So this is the finished eye look. So got you on up there. So oh yeah, let me dust over this real quick one more time. I didn't get any fallout on this eye like I did on the first eye when I first did this look. On this eye I got fallout, so I wasn't particularly happy about that because I already had my face done. If your person does your face last and does your eyeshadow first, then you should be fine. If you don't, I maybe want to put some powder underneath your eyes so that way you don't have fallout. Because I had to take a brush and white powder, and I actually brought it over here with me because I thought I was going to have some fallout on this side, but luckily I did not. But yeah, I like the color story of this palette, and I think it was great quality like all Nomad palettes are. It's just more of, since it doesn't have the tones at the top to go with the pink tones, I would have to reach into another palette to get a pink look out of it the way I would prefer to, which is again why I couldn't use the shade Moon I really wanted to use, because I wanted to use this all over the lid, but I feel like it wouldn't look right with the rest of the mattes that I had to choose from in this palette. So that's my only downside about the palette, but otherwise, you know, it's fine. And since I own a million monochromatic palettes, I can just pull the Ooh La La palette and then use that shade Moon out of here when I really want to do a look with it, or use some other pink shadows from other palettes. Like I can use the Blends palette. Like, we know I have plenty of palettes to choose from, so to me that's not an issue. But if you wanted some pinks to go with that pink and you're not fair to about like medium skin tone, I would say you're not necessarily, might not be happy with that, because you'll have a whole row of shadows that you might not necessarily feel go with other things. Now I can put the pinks with the greens, obviously, and put the corally shades with like the blue, so that's not an issue. It's just more of, you know, that's a personal preference thing for me, and if it has like all these different colors, then I want to have mattes that go with all the different colors to be able to make looks that I would prefer to create. So to me, it's more of a companion palette for that reason, and that doesn't change the quality of it being good. It's just that's my perspective on the palette. So those are my thoughts. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.